Hello, you're here with Phil de Harcourt and Phil Taphouse for the third in the webinar series. Phil, could you just introduce us to some of the dashboard and BI parts of Board?
Sure thing. Let's start off by having a look at fairly standard dashboard for our demonstration company. What we can do here is we can view the data in a number of different ways. We can filter down on various attributes. We've got the ability to look at a whole lot of different ways of visualizing your data. And again, we can drill into this to get more insights. We can also have a look at more traditional ways of viewing the data. And again, we can select a range of periods. Then we can go up to a report, have a look at an individual salesperson here, and say, okay, let's drill in and find out some of his statistics, and maybe we want to further then drill into the northern region. And we can choose how we drill into the data and if we want, get down to the transactional level. All of this can also just be exported out to Excel fairly quickly. There we go.
And in Excel there, is that dynamically linked to the database underneath, or is it just a flat screen?
No, this will update. So if we go back into Excel, we have a board add-in that if we sign in will allow us to refresh the data. So this spreadsheet, if we open it at a later date, can update itself from board and be viewing the latest version of the data. Also, if we chose, we could also edit the numbers here and have them right back to the database within Board.
So you could use it as a budget template as well, design your own in Excel.
Exactly, and it's also another reporting front end, because we know lots of clients do all their monthly financial reports and management reporting in Excel anyway. Let's have a look at another aspect anyway, of perhaps some of the construction of these type of objects in Board. I've got a blank screen here called DIY, just as an illustration of how anyone, even a read-only end user, can actually construct some of these things that we've been looking at. And it's very easy, all drag and drop. I can pick my data, drag it down. I might look at sales. I might say, well, I want to see sales by quarter, and maybe by product group. So just dragging and dropping, refresh, and there's my information. At that point, it's fully drill downable. I can go and select, say, right down to the individual product and keep on going down to customer and so on. But let's make this a little bit more difficult, a little bit more complex. Let's go and have a look at adding in some more information. I could add in a budget here. I could change the way we're looking at the data and say, well, I really want to view this by month. So I'm just going to get rid of quarter. And maybe I also want to look at it, say, by product and customer to show you an example of how it groups information together. So if I refresh that screen again, what we're seeing is a lot more complex view. And I can go further at this. Most traditional business intelligence tools stop at this point, but here I can actually say, well, this is the budget column here. I want to edit the data. I want to see a variance between the sales and the budget. Really easy to do that. To edit the data, all I need to do is turn on Enable Data Entry. And if I wanted to say have a variance column, all I'm doing is saying block A, sales, let's block B, budget. And while I'm at it, I might put an alert on there. So refresh the data again. And as you can see, I've got a nice easy variance column. It's putting things in green or red. And the budget information where I've got a yellow background, that in board indicates I can edit the figures. So at this point I can start typing in figures and saving and making changes. Some other things that we can do. We've got some objects here that we saw before, such as a selector. I might say, well, I want to filter my data by product group. And then the data is filtered accordingly. I also might say, well, okay, this is great. I want to see a more visual representation of this. So I can go and copy my information and drag a chart onto the screen at this point. Paste my original data in. I want to say, have a look at sales, budget, and at that point I've got a chart based on this information. I can pretty that up a little bit as well. I can say, well, let's make the budget a line. Let's go into formatting and change the formatting. Maybe I'll put a legend along the bottom and so on. Now the unique thing is, all of these objects are attached. So if I then said, let me just filter on these 2 months, I'm only seeing those 2 months in the data entry screen and also on the chart. Likewise, if I said, okay, well, let's have a look at this particular amount here, again, clicking on it allows me to drill down. Okay, let's have a look at the values by customer and so on. So everything's integrated and everything's linked.
That's very good, Phil. Thanks very much for that. It almost, some people might almost say that looks too simple. Are we able to build quite complex solutions out of this?
You can, and that was our attraction to the product in its first place, is that you don't have to be an IT person, and a layman, an everyday business user can construct things from the very start and construct quite complex solutions.
Okay, thanks very much for that, Phil. That's the last in our webinar series on building reports in Board. Thank you.